Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms. And today, my word, have we got a treat for you. We are talking all about blogging, but really, we're going to seriously entertain you today. As a sort of, dare I say it, a byproduct of today, because we've got the wonderful Sarah Arrow with us. I am not going to let her introduce herself quite yet, but I am going to say, what's the buzz in your business? So we want to know, as always, we want to know, what are you up to? What have you done? What are you going to do? What are you excited about? What's intriguing? What's happening in your business? We want to know, what is the buzz in your business? So, to that note, Kelly and I are actually really quite buzzed about yesterday. We ran our first Business Boost Day inside our Changemaker Central membership. And it is a day, we are all about speakers, authors, and coaches really putting the foundations in their business, getting to grips with the metrics, the money, the measurements that are actually going on. And oh my word, it was a hugely buzzy day by the end of it. So
we
yeah,
haven't been able to run a Connect and Create Day for so long because we
Yeah.
do them outside of COVID when we can physically meet with 16 other people. So this filled the gap a little bit of human interaction and getting to see our members and having all those people on screen working together. So yes, we're feeling like we're slowly coming out of lockdown. Slowly.
Slowly is definitely the operative around that. So as I say, we have the wonderful Sarah Arrow with us, and she's going to be telling us all about blogging. But first off, hun, what's the buzz in your business?
Mine?
Yeah, yours, darling.
Yeah, much of this. I'm actually doing something really boring that is tremendously exciting. I'm moving my websites to a new host. I'm with one host who is as slow as anything. And I know it's not my site because I've done all of the metrics. Afternoon, Casalina.
Hi.
And I've found some hosting that ticks all the boxes for GDPR security, but also my personal values and our personal values, because I work with my husband. And the hosting, he runs his business to rescue dogs and cats and other things. So he does all of this hosting, and all of his profit after he's paid for his servers rescues animals.
Amazing.
Yeah. We're moving over. We're moving over.
I was going to say, some serious investigation happening.
But it's a real buzz for me.
Oh, I love it.
That's a pure buzz for us. I mean, anything that's values led, anything that's values related is really good. What's up?
And Sarah, if you can, whether it's now or later, please put this lovely gentleman's link in the comments. So anyone like myself and anyone watching that's interested, because
like Casalina,
definitely. Let's give him some PR and some exposure, and see if anyone that's building websites at the moment wants an ethical host. That's right,
and yes, absolutely and completely. So let us get on with. So what's really interesting is that Kelly and I schedule things quite far in advance, and set up our guests and everything else. And Sarah and I have been talking for a good 6-7 weeks, if not more. But what's really interesting is, I think people tune in almost because Kelly and I have been talking about blogging with people for the last week or so. The Connection Hub, where we have speakers, authors, and coaches, we've got a group of 10,000 or so people. So if you're watching this on the Speaker Insight page, come on over. Kelly's put the link in already. So please come on over and have the conversation. And some of the conversations that have been going on inside the Connection Hub and also in the membership have been all around blogging and what's actually going on with it. So it's just this synergy of we happen to be talking about that with Sarah today. So because I know you from way back, tell us a little bit, and most people may not, tell us a little bit about you and also how you got started with the whole blogging thing.
Okay. What most people don't know is until I was 25, I ran a pub, and then I retired, and I decided I was not going to work face to face with people ever again because I was a legal drug supplier. All my friends were there because I supplied them their drug. And once I realized that, I realized I had no friends outside of my dealing them alcohol. So I retired from this business because, you know, I was a grown up at that point. And I thought I would do something. I was fortunate. I was married at that point to somebody who wasn't Kevin, but was far, far wealthier than me and Kevin are now combined, and probably most people in the room. So there was no pressure on me to get any jobs. And it was around 1995, 1996, and I got a call from somebody who knew me in the pub. And I said, what do you want? And they said, I want you to come and work for the government. Right. And I said, yeah, sure, of course you do. I love it. I really wanted to work for the government. If you'd asked me when I was a kid what I wanted to be, other people, train driver, ballerina, me, work for the government. Unfortunately, sometimes men don't understand sarcasm because they say, fantastic, let's arrange you an interview. So they arranged me this interview, and I went to work for the government because, let's face it, you know, retirement at 25 is rather dull. And I went and worked for the government. I was headhunted by another company within about 18 months who doubled my salary. So there I was at 26 years old, earning £80,000 a year when most people earned 15. And I had the most wonderful career in corporate that you could possibly imagine. I helped people who were called harder to help. So that person, that body you step over in the street, they would have been my client. Anybody who had issues, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, any kind of addiction, they were sent to me. In the space of 2 years, I got 2,000 people who had been written off by society back into work. I was loved by my employers and the government and the people that funded these programs, but hated by the clients because they knew the minute they heard my name, they were going back to work. And whilst that might sound really quite harsh and quite cruel to make these people go back to work, what people don't know and realize is the work that we do is therapeutic. And once we get into that routine, other things start happening. Our social skills improve, our mental capacity improves. Everything improves. So it's just a matter of getting that person from doing nothing to doing something to start seeing the transformation happen. And you've seen the reverse of it happen actually in lockdown, in quarantine, where people have had lots of interaction to go to no interaction, and they've lost some of their mental faculties. They can't have a conversation. They don't know how to turn off the Zoom when they fart so their thing don't light up. You know, it's all sorts of issues. So there was me with this fantastic job, well thought of, well regarded in the industry, and I was approaching 30 years old. And like I say, the previous husband was a bit of a, I'm going to use a technical term here, fuckwit. And we went on holiday to Portugal, and we came back, and this is how close our relationship was. I'd barely seen him on the holiday because he was golfing and I was sunbathing. And he put his suitcase on the bed and he said, don't unpack the suitcase. And I just looked at him and I said, when have I ever unpacked your suitcase? And he said, well, don't unpack it because I'm going to work in Norway tomorrow. And I said, oh, okay. Right. So that's how I knew my husband at that point was going to work abroad. And up until that point, I'd worked with him. I'd lived with him. Prior to that, I'd lived with parents. I'd never been on my own.
Didn't know anything different in that respect.
I didn't know anything different. So there I was around 6 weeks before my 30th birthday with a 5-year-old child, never having lived on my own ever. Never had been an adult or anything. So he went off to Norway, did whatever he does in Norway. And in the time that he was gone, I realized that I could live alone. I didn't need him. I had more than enough money. And when he came back, it was bye-bye. And he wondered what happened. Right?
Yeah.
To this day, he still doesn't know what happened. And
Yeah.
he blames Kevin, my current husband, for destroying his marriage. Right?
But
He's,
it
like I
wasn't
say, a
that.
bit of a fuckwit, didn't understand. And it was at that point I was a single parent, and Kevin came back into my life. He was my boyfriend before I left him and ran off with the idiot, married the idiot, had a child with the idiot, as you do, and then left the idiot. And I got back with Kevin, and I was so happy because when you're with the person you're meant to be with, conversation isn't hard. You know, they intuitively get you in so many ways. And Kevin really got me. He didn't care that I'd want to curl up in a ball in the corner and read a book and be so engrossed in the book that I didn't cook him dinner for 3 days. He would say, oh, do you want me to order you the sequel? Because you must really be loving that. You know? And when I'd want to go and queue up to get Harry Potter, because that was just being released in the phases, I think it was the Goblet of Fire. And I was queuing up at midnight, and I think I was something like 8 months pregnant. He was like, oh, let me come and queue with you. And I'm like, no, I'm perfectly okay. You know, I'm going to queue up and get this book myself. But he was happy to queue up and get Harry Potter with me. So we had 2 children very close together, one at the Harry Potter queue. And then, really, really logical thinking. I thought, I'm going to have another one straight away because this one's born in September. Stop laughing. It's as if you know the punchline already. And I thought, this one's born in September. I'll have another one and they'll be in the same school year. But I didn't get that pregnant that quick. It took me until the next one come along 13 months later. She took 4 months longer than expected. I've told her it's all her own fault that she ain't in the same year as her sister. So there I was, new husband. I'd given up the career, sort of. I was on maternity leave with 2 children under 2 years old. And I was going mental inside my brain. I was watching Jeremy Kyle on telly. Don't judge me. I was watching Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen doing house things. Again, don't judge me.
I did that too.
And my mind was going to mush. So Kevin came in and he'd set up his own business whilst I was working and then went on to maternity leave. And I got a degree in business, which was all theory, no practical. Yeah. And I thought I understood everything about business, but you'll soon hear that I didn't. And he came in and he said, we've got problems. And I'm like, what problems can we have? You know? And he says, well, if we don't get any leads in our business in 6 weeks, we're going to be bankrupt. We're going to have nothing. It's going to go. So I need you to stop watching Jeremy Kyle and Jeremy Springer and anybody called Jeremy, and I need you to do something. What? What can I do? You know, I've got babies.
Yeah.
I got babies and I've got an older one at school. I can't possibly do anything for your business. And he's like, please. Okay, then you said the please word. Now I have to. And I went into the garage where the office was because we heard that Apple had started in a garage and Virgin had started in a garage. So, like, you know, you want to start in the garage. Yeah, we moved out of the spare bedroom straight into the garage because that would accelerate our chances of success. And it was in the garage. We had our 2 desks and I thought, I'm going to type in how to get business for my courier business. This was early 2007.
Okay.
You cannot imagine the disaster that I was facing on that screen. The internet was like the wild, wild west. There was either tumbleweed or an all-out war. There was no in between. And they were saying things like, ideal customers, and I'd say to Kevin, who's our ideal customers? And he'd say, got a pulse, got a credit card, got something to move. Got it. Pulse, credit card, something to move. Right, so how do I write something or talk something or do something that speaks to Pulse, credit card, something to move. So I started going through my emails, because that's what you do when you're trying to do something really creative, really worthwhile. You put it off and do something different. And I was going through my email and I found an email from money saving expert Martin Lewis.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, Martin Lewis, he's always got good advice. So I went in there and he said, go to this site, BT Trade Space, and add your details there and you'll get business. Oh, it's Martin Lewis. He's God. So I went over, added my details. It said uploaded a logo, and I had a logo and I could upload it. Result. And then it said, do you want to blog or podcast? So I looked at the blogging and I thought, gosh, that's right. Never going to do that in a million years. I'd done
podcasting back in 2007.
2007,
oh,
yeah.
Wow, I didn't think that. It was even really a thing then.
Yeah, broadcasting, the Renaissance years were 2004 to 2006.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was a thing before it was a thing.
Yeah. Just goes to show you that you got to stick at things.
Yeah. So podcasting, I looked at that and that was speaking. And if there was something worse than writing stuff, it was talking stuff.
I'm pretty certain that there are some people listening who are going, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. Right? So I thought to myself, oh, gosh, done no writing ever in my life. Never mind, I worked for the government and filled out all their paperwork and could speak fluent government. That doesn't matter. That does not count. Won a poetry contest when I was 14. Would you like me to recite it? Apple sitting there. You are greener than my sister's hair. Are you Granny Smith's or golden delicious? I can't help but wonder and be suspicious. Yes, I won a prize for that. That poem, that wonderful thing, got me a brilliant mark in my GCSEs, which was good because I didn't do any of the other.
You're getting love. Saskia, Helen, all that. Yeah. They're saying you're legends.
Yeah. And they're enjoying Speak Fluent Government. Yeah. There's a load of love here for you.
Yeah. So you can understand exactly where I was. I had the choice of blogging or talking.
Yeah.
One was writing, of which I'd won an award for that fantastic poem that I just recited to you, and won a GCSE surely on the strength of that. Speaking fluent government, that was all of the experience I had when it came to doing blogging. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to read the instructions. If anybody can say anything about me, it's I'm very good at following instructions. Okay? Right. Always do as I'm told. So it said, write a blog post and it must have 50 words.
50?
50. Yeah. Well, my response was a bit more like, 50? How on earth am I going to write 50 words about white vans? All right, so I sit there. White van in Sheffield. 46 more to go. White van in Sheffield has 2 doors. 2 doors. Oh, 42 more to go. And that's how I was. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours that 50 words took me. Right, wow. I know most people, 50 words per minute, could bang out that blog post in a minute, maybe 2 if they had to think. 2.5 hours it took me.
But so, I love that you actually stuck at it, that you knew you had to, you were gunning for it, you'd read the instructions, you were just in there and you needed to do what you needed to do, right?
Yeah, the instructions said 50 words 3 times a week. I would like to say it got shorter, but it didn't. It kind of became more painful.
And now people are saying,
you're the queen of blogging.
Right? So
Now 50 words, I could give you a 50-word blog post like that on any topic. Just bring it at me. But back then, I did not have any experience in writing. I didn't have any experience around the business that I was in. It was my husband's business. I had, I believe the technical phrase is not a freaking clue.
Which will inspire many who don't blog or do it themselves.
Or even run a business.
And the this wasn't even mine. It was my husband's.
Yeah.
If somebody had said to me, do 50 words on Jeremy Kyle, I could have managed that. Jeremy wears nice suits. Jeremy sometimes flirts with the women on TV. Jeremy is sometimes really bitchy to the people that he doesn't like. I could bang out those 50 words about Jeremy. I was like his one-woman fan club. But I've got to say, thank heavens that Kevin took me away from the TV and got my brain into something else, because otherwise I would talk about Jeremy a lot more than what I do right now.
Yeah,
of course. And the world of blogging in itself, because you're just talking about this span from, what was it, 2007, did you say that you started this, to now? And now people like Saskia are saying you're known as the queen of blogging, so you can see the transformation.
Yes.
How do you see blogs in themselves? I mean, that's why we titled this live about it being dead, because, it was back in 1997, I think, was the first ever web blog that was ever written. Yeah. And then that was like the forerunner of social media. Now we're inundated with platforms and social media, and should I podcast, and should I live, and should I write, and should I Snapchat, whatever it might be. Where do you think blogging sits for, let's class them as business owners like Kevin is and you were?
Yeah.
Where does it sit? Is it dead? Is it something that we should still be focusing on? Should it be something that...
Lean in, everybody. Are you ready for this? It's dead. Go away. Right. Just going to wait for all those who just wanted their... I knew it was dead to feel validated, and then they can go. Right. If you're still here, then you're really, really sensible, because blogging is the heart and the hub of everything you do. From social media, you need content to share. You need it for your profiles. You need it to keep your website alive, because if your website isn't updated within 90 days, it's declared abandoned and you can be removed from the search engines. When you create blog posts in your website, within the website itself, you bring in 67% more leads. You bring in more, can't think of the words now, links. That's the word.
Backlinks and links.
More backlinks. Lots of people, how do I get backlinks from my website? Write a blog. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah. Oh, well, go and buy them off of somebody and really tank your site, because you've got choices here. You can do it the slightly more difficult, more painful route of creating the content. But once you get into it, I've got to be honest, it's the easiest thing in the world once you get into it. Those first 50 words.
Because you're really consistent. That's what people are saying, right? And that's one of the keys, isn't it, of blogging and being successful with it.
Yeah, it's everything. Also, if you show up often enough,
your first is your worst, right? That's what they say. And so, that consistency grows over time, and you know what you're talking about, because actually you, unlike you, the former you that didn't have a clue about anything other than bands have doors, and that's good. Sort of like most speakers, authors, coaches, they know their subject inside out. And so
until they have to write a blog post.
That's right.
And then,
okay.
And then gone. What most people like to do is talk about themselves. I mean, I've just spent 10 minutes talking about myself and how I got into blogging. That doesn't appear on my blog. I touch on it very lightly on my about page of how I got into blogging, because my site isn't focused on me, it's focused on my customer. And lots of coaches take the marketing thing as in, I'm a personal brand, I'm a coach, everybody wants to know everything about me. But no, actually, nobody gives a damn. And it's a really harsh lesson for them to learn that the only people who want to learn how to move to France and become a coach are the people who are looking to move to France and become a coach, which isn't very many people. It's not the people looking for a coach. They don't say, oh, how do I become a coach? And,
for sure.
Rather than
you're
talking
speaking
about
our language,
their
for sure.
life, they need to talk about what's going on in the life of the client. And that's what I was inadvertently doing when I was writing my little 50 words. I was talking about the van capacity. It's got 2 back doors. Now, if you've got something that's really rather wide, you need 2 back doors, which might sound stupid, but to the customer, right, to me, I was just describing, oh, it's got 2 back doors. That means they can get this in. Brilliant. Yeah. And that's how your content has to be. You have to frame it for the customer. And if you don't do that, nothing you do, your website won't work, your content, your blog post, your podcast, none of it will work, because it's all about you. And whilst I'm amusing and mildly entertaining right now, as soon as we get off this call, I'm going to be sitting on the sofa, drinking a glass of lime, reading a book, debating whether to put burn notice on or whether I should get up and, you know.
Definitely burn notice in my world. Definitely.
You see, that's the other thing. Like, you know, burn notice, he has got the perfect bio, hasn't he?
He really does.
You know,
for those of you who don't know, go have a little look.
I have no idea what you two are talking about. Is it a TV program?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I don't watch telly, so I have no idea.
It's highly addictive and it's so smart. But for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, let's talk about blogging again, Sarah. But for those of you who know what we're talking about, yes.
When you're doing your blogging, it's really, really quite simple things. You've got to write a good headline, because if you don't write a good headline, nobody's going to read it. It doesn't matter if everything after it is complete nonsense. If you write a good headline, that's okay.
Attention.
Yeah.
Then you have to have an opening paragraph. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky, because we blend in blogging with something that's known as content design. People don't read left to right like that without getting their head hurt, their eyes hurt, and then they click away. So if you've got a screen full of text, it's unreadable. So the next part is to create a narrow funnel of text around 80 characters long and put an image to the right. Now, the reason you put an image to the right is on a mobile device that stacks above the text. And whilst you might not think this is important, it's the difference between your content getting read and your content not getting read. Because, yes, they've clicked, they've seen a wall of text, they've clicked back. That sends a signal to the search engine that your site isn't what people want. And you fly down the rankings at the speed of light. Down, not up. Down. And you don't want that. Okay.
Sarah, I'm just gonna share that you are actually inspiring right now. Kazelina's saying, "Oh my God, I have never wanted to blog, but the way you described what to write, I think I might be okay to do blogging." You have just, you know, we've got a tick in the box right there.
A tick in the box. So we've now got our content. We've got the headline, which is good, gets them in. We've got a narrow funnel of content telling them what this piece of content is about.
Yes.
And why they should read it, and what they get if they read to the bottom. And if they read to the bottom, they should get some sort of bribe or incentive, but that's another thing for another day. And then bang smack to the left, to the right. I can't tell left from right at the moment. You know, I've done too many videos and interviews today, and now I don't know anything. I've got 2 more to do after this, after I've read and watched Burn Notice, that is, then this evening. And hopefully the brain will be back up. So, image to the right, which shows somebody looking happy. Okay, you can't
aspirational part of the blog, basically.
They have to look happy. I've experimented with people looking frustrated, with miserable, but Google isn't the only search engine out there. There is the marvelous visual search engine that is Pinterest. That will send you traffic, which is also social media. There is Twitter, which is social media, which will also pull that image through and send you traffic. And then there's Facebook, which doesn't like sending you traffic, but will do if you force it. And there's also LinkedIn as well. I get around 30% of my traffic from the search engines, and the remaining traffic comes majority from Twitter and LinkedIn, with the bigger number of that being LinkedIn. So
good to know.
It's always good to have a visual that captures people's interest,
Yeah.
because you're going to share your blog posts on social media, because you need to feed the monster that is social media. And lots of people say, oh, you can recycle your content. Yeah, if you're on the receiving end of everybody's recycled content, right, how do you feel about that? Oh, I saw that 3 days ago. I didn't click then, not clicking now. And then it appears again like magic. Oh, it's that again. Didn't click 2 days ago, didn't click 3 days before that, and it's back again. Oh, God, it's like a bad smell. Not going to. And then eventually you do a couple of things. You block that person, you unfollow that person, or you unsubscribe. You don't, because whilst it is good to share your content, the frequency that most people tell you to recycle it is too much. Yeah. And I know everybody likes to say people are goldfish and they've got this 9-second attention span. Well, the Game of Thrones was 8 freaking seasons. The book is 600 pages. Right? Hang on a minute. Stay there. Don't move.
This is where you get to see behind the scenes of Sarah.
Behind the scenes.
Her strap-on screen that she can have for her green screen. Oh, what's
this?
Oh my
is
God!
An attention span
and more
people do not have.
Yeah.
These books are not small books.
No,
you'll
but they
hear
do
people
them.
tell you, oh, people have got no attention span. I'm just getting out to tell you how much of an attention span.
Yeah.
Right now, I've read all of these. I bought these ones for Kevin. Right, and let me tell you, the first 300 pages of the Game of Thrones, I don't know how that book got printed.
I'm with you.
I do not know how it got printed. I can't get it out to show you now. Right, 300 pages, and it was boring, and it was monotonous, and then suddenly it was like whoosh on a skelter, and then it did not stop for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. Right, but that's the thing. People will tell you they have no attention span, and you have to repeatedly market the same thing over and over again. And they don't. They read crack like this.
So that's actually where I want to take this, and I do want to share Moni's question with you as well. So I actually want to, because you now work with speakers, authors, coaches, and other people in those denominations, but those are the ones that are interesting to us. And so how does blogging fit in to part of their marketing? And so people like Moni are definitely sat here just even thinking, but when Facebook only shares your post with 1% of your followers, doesn't it make sense to recycle content? So I'm going to let you tackle that one first, but maybe put that in the wider context of, how should speakers, authors, and coaches be using blogging as part of their marketing? Because I think everyone's convinced by now that they should be. So how should they be?
And just to add to that one, Sarah, as well, we might combine these two together.
Yeah.
From Moni's point of view, is a frequency point of view. So because if you don't need to recycle content, if you're putting a lot of content out there, what are your guidelines for people on how frequently they should blog?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This really is 2 things here. When Facebook only shares posts with 1% of your followers, doesn't it make sense to recycle content? No, what makes better sense is to create the content that your followers want. Okay? That might sound really harsh, but Facebook is known for fickleness and the attention spans of gnats. Now, that's great if that's your audience, but it's not everybody's audience. So let's look at some statistics. There are 2.5 billion people on Facebook. Do you know how many of those speak English?
No.
300 million.
Wow.
Really?
On LinkedIn, there are 1.5 billion people. Do you know how many speak English? 485 million. So when people say to you, oh, everybody's on Facebook, absolutely, everybody is. Now, does your audience predominantly speak English? If the answer is yes, then Facebook may not be the place that you wish to be.
Interesting.
Now, you have to look into your audience. You have to look into their characteristics, because if you are particularly a coach and you are not active on LinkedIn and you are not sharing your content there, you're missing 185 million people more than what you get over here.
Yeah.
And to the point where you were saying about writing content that your audience wants, Facebook, and we know it's the land of algorithms, right? So if you put a blog post in there and it is landing with your audience and they are liking, sharing it and commenting on it, more people, your engagement increases from 1% because Facebook go, oh, people are liking this, I'm going to show it.
Let's ramp it up.
So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You've got to write what they want and you've got to be where they speak your language as well.
Yeah.
Well,
literally.
I'm going to talk some heresy here. So if you're the kind of person that gets offended by heresies, switch off for 10 minutes. Okay, let me take a slurp. One of the things that I encouraged people to do in the past is boost a post from their Facebook page. And I hear lots of Facebook experts go, no, don't ever do that. You should do anything other than, it's like a dragon.
Boost.
It's like
do not boost.
Daenerys and her dragons. Dragons don't exist. Well, look at this, bitches. Here's a big one. And it breathes fire. So here's my fire-breathing dragon for you. When you boost a post, you can actually target to your audience. So if your audience is a coach over the age of 40, living in England, you can do all of that. And you can even specify whether they're employed, self-employed, and if they have interests in other things like Goldman Sachs or the FSB, whatever little quirk the individual has. Yeah. And you can boost a post, and you can do that for £5. Now, the boost lasts for 24 hours. It costs you £5 and it pushes you up the algorithm. But that boost does not disappear. The next piece of content you put up the next day gets a lift that you don't have to pay for. So you reach more of the audience. So if you pay to reach, say, 2,000 people and it costs you a £5, and that piece goes out to that and you get lots of engagement on it from the right people. Yeah, yes, lots of people are liking it. Lots of them are the right people. Oh, they're liking my page as a byproduct. You're building the audience of the right people. And then the next piece of content you put up, you don't pay for, but it gets a little lift.
Nice, didn't know that.
Oh, beautiful.
And lots of research has been done into this, and most people find that they can spend a £5 a day, every other day, that is, not everything, right? £15 a week, not very much. Increase the visibility of their content significantly. I mean, seriously significantly, not 3 or 4 people, but thousands of people. Yeah. And then they can capture all of these people into a Facebook audience and show them an advert for an opt-in or something else.
Which is like retargeting.
Yeah,
after
retargeting.
Yeah.
Now, most people don't do that. They say, oh, boosting posts is evil. It really tanks all of your social media. All of your profiles die. It's horrible. Don't do that. And what you find when people say that is they want to sell you an ads course, or they want to sell you a really expensive training. And the truth of the matter is there are lots of little tools out there for small business owners that are not very expensive.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend £5. You can spend £2.
Which is amazing. And I'm just going to interrupt once, just because sometimes, when people ask a question, it kind of gets stuck. So Elizabeth has just actually asked, is boosting the same as sponsored? So just to clarify that.
A sponsored thing to say that it is posted and paid for a piece of content.
It will show up there in the higher in the newsfeed.
Just so she's got that.
Okay, so that really helps people. I think debunk some of the things of actually that is, because we're all going back. What you're demonstrating is you could do this with 2 kids under the age of 2. You can do this without business knowledge. You can do this without a degree in English. You can blah, blah, blah. And you can even do this and start to increase your reach with a £5 every other day.
For sure.
What about time? Because that's one of the things that we know have people go, I haven't got the time.
I find time is a wonderful thing. There are 2 people when it comes to blogging, those that are willing to put in the effort and those that won't. There is no middle ground. And if you don't blog, you have to do something else, right? You have to do something else to be visible.
Yeah.
As in, you have to do a podcast. And if you think blogging's stressful and time consuming, you wait till you meet podcasting. Yeah, they tell you it's just talking to your mates and interviewing people. Yeah, right. Oh, the emails back and forth. You know, the email for this call, Helena has sent it to me, 6 times?
Yeah.
You know, we've had conversations about my inability to use the search function on Outlook. It's, you know, it is hard work. And
Yeah.
here I am sitting here, I'm sharing my wisdom, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for a copy of this. And you know what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to run it through Happy Scribe. And then I'm going to pull out all of the things. And then I'm going to say, here are some of the sound bites. Bing, 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 bing. Join the group to read more here. And put the link there. And then I'm going to publish it on my blog. And then that's going to go out to my actual combined social media reach is 145 million people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is
So
amazing.
that's a third of the English speakers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get to
Amazing.
reach them every time I publish. I wish they'd all click. You know, 145 million. I know I've just moved hosting and it's really good and I'm pretty sure they can take the pressure. But not everybody clicks. So if you're sitting there thinking, you know, oh, everybody can read what you say. Nobody reads what you say. If you get 1% of that, you're doing really good. Yeah, 145 million people have a combined reach across my social media channels.
And Anna, did you catch that little tip that she just shared there about, you know, taking, what was the tool that you use? Happy
Scribe.
Happy Scribe, right? So she's asking for more tips like that of resources. That's one for you to check out, of taking sound bites out of interviews like this and repurposing them. So you're full of them.
And just you go first, and then I've got another one that's kind of sitting here. Okay, fine. So just because we're talking about kind of the tools and everything else, but I think one of the questions that's also in people's minds is, you know, because a lot of people have, dare we say it, website shame, and they're like, do I need to put it on my website, or can I use kind of some of the other platforms that are out there, or I've got my blog on Medium and my website, which one should I put it on first? So what have you got to say about that?
Okay then, right, let's talk about website shame first, and then we'll talk about blogs on other planets. So yes, Elizabeth, that's the same as Otter or Rev. But in my terms, I bought a lifetime subscription, so it's far cheaper than Otter and Rev. But they'll do the same job.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so where was I?
First of all,
so blog, website shame.
Website shame, then blogs on other planets.
My first website, I built myself. It was a pretty spectacular job, if I may say so myself. It was orange and silver. And every time you moved a page, the doors would open and close and go, shh, shh. Right? So if you can imagine.
Double doors, Sarah, double doors.
Yeah, double doors.
Double doors. Star Trek sounds. You know, when you were like listening to Star Trek on the telly and the doors go, shh. That was the sound my doors made on my website.
You are such a geek. I love it.
9,000 visitors a month on my website and not a single call. They were watching the doors go. So when you talk about website shame, right, do you mean pretty but nobody buys? Or do you mean dark ugly but everybody knows your phone number and can get hold of you to book your services? Because that's what followed pretty. We delivered a motorbike, for an SEO expert. And the SEO expert said, loved your site, love your content, used who are maniacs. And my husband said, my darling Kevin, he said, it's not me, it's my wife. And he said, oh, your wife? Oh, she's an SEO, obviously. And he said, no. He said, she makes it up as she goes along. And I'm like, don't give away all our trade secrets. Yes, I'm a professional. And he said to Kevin, he would give me a phone call. And I'm like, who's this man wanting to phone me up? We've got a website. He doesn't need to talk to me. He can look at the website. And he rang me up and I'm like, hello? Yeah.
Telephone voice.
Telephone boy.
And he said to me, he said, Sarah, he said, I feel like I know you. because I've read all about you and the children and Kevin on the blog. And he says, so I know you're putting on your posh voice when you're answering the phone because you've mentioned that in a blog post. That's what damn, I've spilled my guts too often. So he said, just listen to me. He said, I wanted you to move my motorbike. And he said, I had to scroll all down your website to get your phone number.
Yeah.
He said, put it next to your logo in your header so it shows on every single freaking page. And I said, oh, I don't know how to do that. He said, yes, you do. You're lying. And I'm like, no, don't call me out of my own crap. And
Brilliant.
I put my phone number into the logo, into the header of the website, and our calls went through the roof because I was making it very hard for people to contact me. I then went one step further because I started studying more about how search engines worked. And what I realized was the search engine doesn't want people to actually click through to your website. It just wants to give them the information that they're looking for. So how do I still get the phone call and keep the search engines happy? Well, I started putting my phone number in the meta descriptions. And all of a sudden, instead of being the bottom of page one, I was the top of page one because people didn't leave the search engine. They would just call my number.
Amazing.
And that was great because you've got to think about how the search engines want people to be
clever.
How do you use Google? Yeah.
And the first thing they want when they're looking for a specific something is to talk to somebody.
Of course.
And I was really amazed by how this was working. So when you have this website, Shane, you've got to realize a couple of things. Firstly, the person who's looking to book you for something is looking to book you for something. They don't care what you look like. They don't care. I'm going to say another heresy here. They don't care if your content is perfect. My biggest contract from that site was in 2009 when an international motor company known to everybody as Ford's booked us for a contract for £1 million a year. In the blog post that caught their attention was a typo. Right? And everybody knows if there's a typo, nobody buys from you. Okay? So you're wrong.
That's really good.
And Ford's also, when they called us in to actually meet them, we didn't believe it was them. Kevin hung up on them 3 times, and the final call was, Kevin's going to hang up.
Brilliant.
Call us back. Ask for so I can switch board.
Brilliant.
We're watching Hustle on the telly at the time, and we're like, oh, this is some long con.
That's brilliant.
No, it wasn't a long con. It was Ford's Motor Company, and Kevin went in there, and he was absolutely brilliant. And he said, why did you pick us out of all of the companies out there? And they said, we know who you are.
Brilliant.
Like, what do you mean, you know? He said, we know your wife, we know your children, we know that you've got a Rottweiler, and we know everything about you, but we're not stalking you, honest. But please tell Sarah that the girls look lovely in that dress that she
That's perfect.
But again, that's another confidence thing because a lot of people think when they're blogging that they always have to be giving like really extravagant advice, especially coaches. They think they always have to be teaching, when a lot of the time, when people build up that know, like, and trust relationship with people, it's when they really get to know them and then they go, okay, our values align, our interests align. They're going to be the right coach for me because they get me, you know, like you were saying before. They really get me and I like them. I want to work with them. So your blogs can just be a behind the scenes of your life and what's going on, as well as giving that advice to people. Isn't that right? That's what blogging's about.
Well, we would take pictures of us, right? We'd say hustling for new customers. That would be my headline. And then I'd have my daughters in their buggies holding leaflets, looking through and
nice.
And, you know, I would then put that up on a blog post and publish it. And people were like, are you hustling again? Sarah,
It's great.
oh, come on. And we had ACAS. You know ACAS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called us and they're like, oh, you can't take those babies out. Come and get a delivery. I was like, totally pimping my children out, totally shameless.
Oh, I totally love it. So
Julie-
you're essentially so Julie, by the way, is like great info, but I keep spitting my tea
Yeah,
out here.
I've learned not to drink my tea while she's talking. Because then
I know. I think I've been quite risque. I'm feeling quite risque myself.
Go on, let's make it come down your nose. Come on,
I
Kelly.
do want to know this,
we can
Sarah,
do it.
because I don't know enough about this to be advising the people that we work with.
Yeah.
We have our blog on Medium. We have our blog on our website.
Yeah.
And we've got Blogger and all the other Reddit and blah, 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 all the other places out there. Where should people focus?
Chicken or
their
egg?
blog?
Chicken or egg?
Right, okay. First of all, we got to understand a couple of things, right? Let's start with the duplicate content penalty. Everybody says, and they're all wrong, another heresy here, or we're really killing some sacred cows.
Yeah, it's like myth busting all over the place.
All over the place. We're dealing with all kinds of heresy here. And the biggest one is that duplicate content is the same piece of content on your own website as it is on somebody else's website. And that is completely untrue. Duplicate content is multiple pieces of content that's identical on your own website.
Really?
Really?
Yes, really. Now, how that works is WordPress is almost a one woman, one man duplicate content machine. It has tags, it has all kinds of things that spit up thin content and duplicate content.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a good web person, that doesn't happen because they've got it under control and they know that's it. But what people don't realize is Google doesn't see just what's in your website and what you publish. It can actually see behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
So it can see the 17 versions of one post that you've got in drafts, and it can see everything else. Yeah. So if you say, oh no, I don't like that one, I'll start again, and you copy and paste it from one blog post to another to start it again, and then you forget about it, and then you go and copy it again. You've now got 3 pieces of duplicate content.
Wow.
So always do it in Word, just like you should do with emails when you're angry at people.
So that is what duplicate content is. It's the same content on your own site. Now,
so you don't get punished if I put it, because we put ours on.
So I can put on Medium and the web.
That's different. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. We're going to be here for quite some. I know. I'm like, my tea's cold. There's hardly any left.
Serious stuff now, right? You can copy all of your blog post wholesale from your website and publish it in LinkedIn articles. And you can do the same again in Medium. And that is not duplicate content. And here's why. Google sees the code behind
Where
all
it's
of the
pasted.
content.
Yeah.
Right.
And the content behind your WordPress website is different to what's behind LinkedIn, to what's behind Medium.
Yeah.
So they're not duplicate content.
Amazing.
Okay.
Right. But now here's the but. Here's where your punishment comes in.
Yeah.
Google says, oh, there's 3 pieces of thing all talking on the same topic, all saying the same thing. I'm going to show one of these and not all of these. I'm going to show the one with the most authority. Who's got the most authority?
Not
It ain't
you.
your website. It's
Yeah.
LinkedIn or Medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get the traffic. Now, when somebody goes onto Medium and they read that article, they think, that's fantastic. Oh, Medium's saying go and read this one too. And they don't click on your website. They go and read something else.
Right.
And the same happens on LinkedIn. So what I would recommend is you blog on your own site, and once a week on Medium, you say, this is what we've published on our own site. Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and then a paragraph from each of them with the links. You get the backlinks to your website, which is nice, helps it rise in the rankings. You get the click-throughs that people are interested in. You do not get a traffic filter, which is what you were describing as a punishment. Okay?
Oh, we might need
Interesting.
to change our strategy.
I'm like, okay, good. Like it's a good thing we've got a strategy day on Thursday, isn't it, Kelly? Like this will be fresh in our minds and we'll be good to go.
And the same works for LinkedIn.
For all of the others.
Yeah.
All the others. Their job is to send traffic back to you. But
Gold.
if you are making it so that you are competing with your own content in the search engines, then you will lose. I don't mean to be horrible. None of us are going to be as powerful as the Huffington Post.
It makes sense.
And the thing that I'm really interested in, actually, Sarah, is your LinkedIn, because I always feel that sometimes LinkedIn articles, people just can't be asked to read. So they might read the posts. So how have you worked LinkedIn so heavily into your own strategy?
Right. Top secret here.
Leaning in again.
Leaning in. I message people.
Your blog?
Yeah.
So you actually DM them.
Read it, yeah? The way the LinkedIn algorithm works is you get the most attention in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I would go in and open LinkedIn on about 15 tabs on the thing. I will then open up 15 people that I know who will click, right? And then I write my article, I press publish, I get my link and I say, dear so-and-so, please go and read this article, desperate for the click. Thanks, love you, Sarah. Next one, dear so-and-so, please can you go and leave me a comment on this post? I'm feeling like Billy No Mates. Right, and then I do that 15 times. Then I get 15 clicks because people are like, what on earth is she talking about? She ain't no mates. What does she want me to comment on this for? So they all go over. And then LinkedIn says, oh, look, somebody's
watching the video.
Let's show it to more people. And that's as simple as how it works. You have to set the ball rolling. Avalanches don't start on their own.
And what I really love about that is that, because the question that we get asked a lot is, well, how do I get my Facebook ads to just kind of do the work for me, or blah, 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 blah. What I love is that you're saying what we say, at the end of the day, business is personal, business is relationship led. And it absolutely, you can use the tactics that you're describing absolutely to create that little avalanche and kind of work it. But you still need to start it. And by the way, you're freaking out, Elizabeth. She's like, going to have to listen to this as I'm freaked out about rewriting my website.
Don't freak out about Elizabeth. It's easy. Right? Homepage is about your brand. About page is about your ideal customers. Your contact page, that's about you. Optimize that for your name. Have all your social media stuff there. Have all your contact forms and make sure those little blighters work on a mobile, because 50% of people search on a mobile, and these contact forms do not work on mobiles half the time.
100%.
Then you've got your blog, and then you've got your services pages. Easy peasy. Don't freak out about it. Yeah.
I'm really conscious.
I'm so conscious of time because we could be here for a long time.
But I do want to just one more thing, because we do talk about in the portfolio businesses is that, when you're either speaking, writing or coaching, there are lots of ways to do this. And blogging can be blogging for your own side. But a lot of the time we get questions about how can they be a guest blogger for other people. What tips, tactics, advice would you give to people around that?
Right. The first one, again, language is highly rated here. The first rule is don't be a twat. Okay. Now, I realise this is another controversial thing, but lots of people think, oh, I like that blog post. I'm going to message them and ask for a guest post, right? And then they say, hi, it's so-and-so. I'd like to be a guest post for you. I'm like, who the frick are you?
Who are you?
Yeah. Relationship.
You would have
service.
Exactly.
Ask this. You would have said, hello, you look really hot in that outfit. I really love your clothes. Can I do a fashion post for you? You're going to be arrested. People do this online all the freaking time. Right? And I'll tell you what happens to these people. They get deleted. And if they're followed, they get blocked.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's creepy. It's
really
rude.
It's rude. It's just like it's wasting people's time.
Yeah. So firstly, find this person's blog, go and comment it on their blog posts. For
Yeah.
the next month, every blog post they publish, leave a comment on it. 2 things will happen here. Firstly, you'll get a little boost in the search engines because you're getting some backlinks.
Yeah.
But they'll click on the 3rd or 4th time to say, who is this freaking person? And then come over and look at you.
Yeah.
Right? After you've got your 4th comment published, ping them a message and then say, hi, such and such. My name is Sarah Arrow. I've read your posts. My favourite one that I recently commented was blah, blah, blah. I was wondering, are you open to guest posting? Looking forward
Gold.
to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye. That's it.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Brilliant.
And they open that. Oh, it's a human being. Oh, I remembered them.
They commented that comment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, I went to their website. They don't seem like a lunatic. So you've now got the opportunity to write the guest post. Now, here's where it all goes downhill, because there is the most psycho marketers out there. And their idea of writing a guest post is they write a guest post, they optimize the living daylights out of it, and at the bottom they say, go over and opt into my special report here, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And somebody who is hosting that, it's a bit like inviting somebody over for dinner, right? And you say to them, is everything okay with the dinner? And they say, yes, it's lovely. And at the end of it, they say, I'm actually a chef too, and this is how I would have cooked it. I would have seared the meat for that bit longer. I wouldn't have used Bristow, I would have used Oxo. And if you come over here and pay me 3 million quid, I'll show you how to cook this meal better. Now, you wouldn't do it at somebody's dinner table, right? Why do it on their website? Yeah, that's what people are being told to do. And it is sheer psycho. It really is, because it is rude to the host. So
100%.
For sure.
in the body of the content, link back to one of your blog posts that you're trying to rank, one that has got commercial intent. Yeah, there's all sorts of types of intent, but commercial intent, link back to one of those in the body, right? And then go down and do the rest of it, link back to other articles that the person has written on their own website. Praise them, yeah?
Brilliant.
Involve them.
Yeah.
Show the relationship, show the symbiosis
That's it.
between what you're
That's
teaching.
it.
The audience love this person, and if you're
Yes.
trying to shame them in their guest post, they're going to think, what a dick.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to even get as far as your bio. And then eventually they get to the bio, and here you can say, I would say, if this was me, I would say, this is Sarah Arrow, the world's second best blogger to such and such, the person who owns the site. Yeah. I offer blogging tips over at my own site and a 30-day blogging challenge you can find here.
I was just going to say, and so I am
Well,
pretty
just
certain
put it
that
in the comments.
exactly. I am absolutely certain that many people are now going, hang on a minute, I need to give this blogging a go. How do I get started? And of course, that's how I very first met you, 7, 8 years ago or whatever it was. I took your 30-day blogging challenge, and it is just such a great way of getting to it. And of course, that for me is just the start of a journey with you, because you have so much more as well. So is this the best way for people to connect with you and kind of learn about these?
Come along to the 30-day blogging challenge. I recommend that you do it, even if you don't do it. Open the bloody emails, read the bloody emails, and get a feel for what blogging involves. Yeah. Most people find that when they take the blogging challenge, it blows the socks off of paid courses.
Yeah,
which is predominantly why I don't have a paid blogging course, because quite simply I teach in the blogging challenge. And if you read that and you implement a third of what's in it, you will be significantly better than where you are right now. Then you ladies, you took your pound of flesh out of me and haggled this brilliant bundle. Honestly, these two ladies, if they do a negotiating course, you guys have got to get on it, because they're brutal. I was like, sure, I can give you that. Here, have this as well. Take it all. The children and a German Shepherd. You know, they're just really, really good, and they've negotiated for you the website Content Ignition, which shows you how to write the pages, something else, which I can't remember, and Content Connection, which is about developing your brand voice.
Brilliant.
I'll look out for you, Kaslina. We'll have fun.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about the challenge, and we know that many of you are in our Facebook group, the Connection Hub, that Sarah basically gave us the advice that this is an evergreen challenge. So you can sign up whenever you want. It's not like, oh, it's here tomorrow and never going to happen again. So whether you're watching this live or on the replay or years down the line, you can still sign up. But her best bit of advice is most people get the best of results is when they do it with a buddy. So
That's
we'd
right.
love for there to be a Connection Hub post. If someone's like Kaslina's just signed up for the challenge, if you're looking to do it
Who
with
wants
someone,
to join her?
then do a call out post saying do the 30-day challenge. Anyone want to buddy up? And we'll get that going in the hub so that you guys can find out who else is doing the challenge and do it together, because you're going to be so much more productive when you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like anything, you know, that commitment just keeps you going in a great way. But also you start to learn more about how you're doing what you're doing over a period of 30 days. I really, really enjoyed it. The first time I did it, I have to admit, I got to day 17. The second time I did it, I got to day 24. So, you know, that was pretty good. I didn't manage to finish, but it didn't actually matter. It's exactly what you said. You know, it's this little piece of, wow, I've got so much more information and I really understand how I'm going to use it and apply it and actually really do everything in here. And I have to say, the bundle that we have negotiated quite nicely with Sarah is, you know, for those of you who are actually, yeah, it was good, but it was a fun conversation to have. But what I'm actually saying is that for those of you that actually are really serious about going, hang on a minute, I'm going to make this part of my strategy and really start looking at it, I would definitely say go take a look at that as well.
I'm just going to try this again because Joe's just saying that the challenge, I don't know why it didn't work for you because Lena just joined up, but Joe, I've just put it in again. Just check that again and make sure that
it's
that's
definitely
working.
opening for me as well.
Well, we know you, Joe, so we'll help you out after.
We'll get you sorted.
Yeah, we'll get you sorted. I'll find a direct link to the opt-in form somewhere.
Brilliant. Perfect. Well, I know that we've gone way over time, but you are true gold entertainment as well as a gold mine of knowledge. And I know that I'm sure we'll probably get you back many a times to talk about you and blogging
and all the other bits and pieces that you do, because we know there's so much more. So this was installment number 1 with Sarah Arrow.
It's like the Game of Thrones books, right?
Yeah. She's a serial, I tell you.
The first one.
Right, we shall let the people go. Thank you, my lovely. It is so amazing to actually have you here.
Thank you for being your guest and talk to all you wonderful people. And if you've not read the Game of Thrones, watch the TV series. It's cool.